A wise head on young shoulders. If someone asked me to describe George Russell in one sentence, that's what I'd come up with. If we recall some of the more recent Formula 1 debuts, where drivers lived up to the hype in the way he did at the Sakir Grand Prix, there is one common trait that separates them from their peers. Adaptability. The quality of being able to adjust to new conditions. It's fair to say that George had a lot to adapt to, given he was called up just 2 days before Friday practice. From getting a seat fit to learning how to use DAS, it was a tough ask for young George to deliver a win this weekend. And yet somehow, some way, he managed to defy all odds and come within millimeters of taking his first pole and his first win in his first race with a top team. How many drivers can you say that about? Well, to be honest, I would be lying to you if I said you can't explain how he did what he did. I mean, all you have to do is look at the manner in which he carries himself around the paddock. He is by far the most mature young driver on the grid, and his pragmatic approach to everything has helped him massively in his bid to secure a Mercedes seat for the future, all at the age of 22. This guy is special. But just how special is he? Now, really quickly, before we dive into this one, I want to wish Lewis Hamilton a speedy and healthy recovery. He is currently experiencing mild symptoms after testing positive for the virus, so on behalf of everyone in the community, we are hoping to see you back in the paddock very soon. Also, I want to remind you guys who are new to the channel or returning viewers to subscribe and turn on bell notifications so you know when I post new videos. We are well on our way to 10k subscribers now, so any support would be greatly appreciated. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. George Russell, the young prodigy who made his debut with Williams last year after winning the Formula 2 championship in 2018. Despite all the memes made about the team in the last 18 months, George, so far, has done exactly what he said he would do, which is, quote, focus on working well with the team and getting everyone on the same page. Even though he was the one out of his fellow rookies to get the shorter end of the stick, he took pride in driving for Williams, knowing that in due time, he would be the heir to the most sought-after seat in Formula 1. And this weekend, his time came. It may not have come in the way he would have wanted, but it still came nonetheless. 2. That's right, just 2 days before the first practice session for the Sakir Grand Prix, George was announced as the man to step in for Hamilton. A new race suit, a new helmet, a seat fit, 64 phone calls, and tons of technical debriefs is what Russell had to go through in preparation for the weekend. Friday was the best possible start to the weekend he could have hoped for. Finished P1 in both practice sessions and looked super comfortable in the W11 as if he had been driving it for the entire season. Meanwhile, it was Valtteri Bottas who was making rookie mistakes, locking up in turn 1 and running wide on the exit of turn 8, time and time again. Was he feeling the heat? Potentially, but statistically, he was the fastest man on track if you took every driver's best millisector time and combined them for their ideal lap. Russell himself admitted that the lap times were deceiving.
I do think the lap times are a little bit deceiving at the moment and aren't a true representation of the pace, I thought.
And this wasn't the only time that Russell foresaw a future event and spoke into existence what he would do to rectify the issues. His ability to objectively identify his strengths and weaknesses, as well as those of his competitors, is outstanding. Furthermore, he knew exactly what he needed to work on and ensured that those issues described were rectified as much as possible before Sunday. Here is another example.
Yeah, race starts, they're okay, improving. They're not Lewis Hamilton level, to say the least, but they're getting better. So again, loads of practice tonight, sat in the car, just trying, modifying clutch paddles to try and suit my fingers a bit more. Like I say, there's so much I do need to get on top of, and we've got such a short period of time to do that. So I think we're in for a long night.
Well, this aged well. Saturday was looking like Bottas was back to his old self. I'll let you guys make of that what you will. But he was visibly more comfortable in the car in FP3, and pole was looking like his to lose. Little did we know that George was saving the best till last. My man's literally came within 0.02 of a second of pulling a Hamilton on his debut for Mercedes. What a savage. Nevertheless, he could still take pride and confidence knowing that he delivered the best lap possible under the trickiest of circumstances. Throughout the session, he was constantly being fed information from Bono as to what buttons to press, what modes to use, and essentially how to operate the car. In the Williams, everything just came a second nature. He didn't have to consciously think about everything he needed to do. With all the new gizmos and gadgets on the W11, as well as the car being suited to Hamilton's preferences, Russell had an incomprehensible amount of information to take in such a short period of time. And yet he still stuck the car in P2. Mr. Saturday well and truly showed up when it mattered most. So after George left Bottas for absolute dead at lights out, the safety car was brought out for the first lap incident that resulted in Verstappen and Leclerc retiring. Another challenge was thrown his way, this time in the form of a safety car restart, which he executed to near perfection as he instantly pulled out a gap over 1 second to prevent Bottas from using DRS. DEG was surprisingly low, and Mercedes decided to extend the first stint with George to lap 45 when they brought him in for fresh hard tyres. A brief moment of shock came through when he uttered, "I have no power," but the calming voice of Peter Bonington came over the radio to remind him to make a switch change. Jack Aitken brought out the second safety car, and Mercedes decided to double stack their drivers. But for some reason or another, Mercedes decided to turn into Ferrari and completely botched the pit stop for both drivers. Russell was fitted with the wrong tyres, and Valtteri wasted over a minute in the pit lane, only to leave with the same tyres he already had on. Nevertheless, it was George who was in the best position to win the race after being fitted with fresh mediums. Except it all came tumbling down when he was hit by a rear tyre puncture and putting him out of contention for good. The race would go on to be won by Sergio Perez, who I will make a video on very soon. But there is no denying that George was cruelly robbed of a maiden Formula 1 win. As gutting as it may be for us all to take, this weekend is proof that we were right about George Russell. I predicted 5 months ago that Mercedes would sign the Brit in 2022, and given how he completely outclassed and outshined Valtteri all weekend, this must be something Mercedes are considering. The level of professionalism and maturity this guy possesses at such a young age is extraordinary. He is a team leader, a difference maker, an inspirational figure that has the potential to push his team to new heights season after season. Wait, where have I heard of a driver like that?
It's me, Mario!
Speaking of Hamilton, I've seen a lot of people saying George's performance somehow delegitimizes his achievements. Now, that's a whole different topic in itself, and if you want to see me cover it, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. But all I will say for now is that Lewis is George's mentor, his idol, the yardstick against which George constantly measures himself. How do you think he has attained all these remarkable attributes so quickly? The silky smooth driving style, the level-headed approach when going into any new scenario, the cool, calm, and collected nature in times of pressure and stress. We are yet to fully immerse George in deep waters, but he has certainly proven himself as not just a once-in-a-generation talent, but the best generational talent amongst his fellow young drivers. And I know, that is a bold statement, especially after just one weekend. But in my opinion at least, the qualities George displayed in 3 days worth of driving for Mercedes is enough for me to come to such a conclusion. And yes, Verstappen and Leclerc are both multiple-time Grand Prix winners, and the Dutchman especially has vastly more experience than the Brits. But it's only a matter of time before George starts doing the same. Imagine what he could do with a car that is tailor-made to suit his body, as well as match his preferences on the steering wheel. It's scary how much potential he has. When you are surprising the likes of Fernando Alonso, a driver well known for surprising people himself with his performance in below-standard cars, you must be doing something right. Now, I know, we still have to remember that all the young drivers are still young drivers at the end of the day. Therefore, we have to give them leeway to grow and develop at their own pace. But right now, the truth about George Russell is that he is the future of Mercedes and has the potential to win multiple world championships. What did you think about George's performance this weekend? Has he lived up to the hype? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're new to enjoy my latest videos in the future. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.